There is an insane character Respawn has been teasing for years, but they never seem to arrive. So who are they, what do they do, and when are they coming? Well, to answer the big questions, we have to go to the very start. Season 3, because at the end of Season 3, a brand new upcoming legend got data mines, and this was Forge. He looked pretty cool, and a set of abilities came with his data mines. But you all know the story. Respawn made Forge as a fake legend to mess with the players and data miners, for Forge to be eventually killed and replaced by Revenant, who then became the Season 4 legend. But the thing is, Forge, he may seem like he's dead, but there's a surprising amount of evidence pointing towards him being alive, and also Respawn never shut up about this guy. It actually gets really surprising. But before we go over the huge evidence, because I've spent all day compiling this, let's take a look at his abilities. Well, first of all, he had Pull Shot, which was a short-range grapple that can pull enemies or you into the air. He also had Ground Slam, where if you pressed crouch while airborne, you would slam into the ground below. Just sounds super dumb. He also had KO Punch, where you jumped in a direction and pressed crouch while airborne to slam into the ground below. He also had 1-2, where he bull rushes in a straight line and hits enemies in that line and finishes with an uppercut. He also had On the Ropes, which granted more melee damage the lower HP you were, and Victory Rush, where when you kill a player with your fists, it restores your health and gives you a 30% speed boost. But all these abilities are useless if he's dead, so what's the evidence for him potentially being alive? And bear with me, because some of these are obviously quite insane. First of all, one theory I've seen a lot of people pick up is the fact that Forge's name is Jimmy McCormick. And who else has the last name McCormick in media? Well, Kenny from South Park, of course, whose whole shtick is dying and then coming back alive immediately. Okay, so I gave you the most insane theory first, but this is where we get a bit deeper into it. A lot of people are theorizing that the Forge that died in this animation, where he officially died, was a fake Forge and someone was imitating him. Why is this? Well, first of all, for some reason, the quote-unquote fake Forge has a slit through his eyebrow, which was never ever seen on any Forge media before this. So why would they randomly give him this? And also, he had a completely separate eye color. But it gets a bit deeper, because when Forge died, he dropped a death box in game, which had a charm that was related to him, and in the description it said Forge was often imitated. Why would Respawn say this? There's no need to say this, unless they were setting a little something up. I personally didn't subscribe to that theory for a while, but over time, and as you'll come to see later in this video, I came to believe it more because of a few more certain things. And we can't forget the amount of developers that have made jokes about Forge dying. Devs have constantly said, Forge is really dead. Or is he? And then Forge is extremely dead. Or is he? Every single developer tweet about Forge has never been directly confirming that the dude is dead. It's always just, maybe he is dead, he seems like it. And because of this, he's kind of become a meme in the Apex space, where everything gets forged. No one believes a legend is gonna live until they can play them in game. And also, Respawn have kind of played with this joke a bit. In the Season 8 launch trailer for Fuse, it seems like he died for a moment, in a Forge moment. And now whenever a character is leaked and they seem too good to be true, people go, well, what if they just get forged? It's genuinely in the back of people's minds that legends could die at any time because of this. But I feel like I haven't given you enough evidence about Forge being alive. So let's talk about how Respawn keep talking about the dude. He is talked about so much. I went back through as much history as possible and gave you a timeline, because after Season 4 it took 3 seasons for him to be mentioned again, because in Season 7, in the Finite trailer, Forge was actually seen in Madera's apartment. He was friends with this dude. Forge is present everywhere. He's weird like that. And also in a Season 7 loading screen, it was mentioned that Forge has his own museum on the same planet Stormpoint is on, and it's shutting down for bankruptcy because Forge kind of fell off. But weirdly enough, that's not the last Forge museum in this video. Like, I don't know how I can be saying that. And then fast forward 3 seasons to Season 10, and Lisa Stone, the woman who saw Forge die, mentions him again, and how he's dead in a teaser for Season 12. And this is when we saw Lisa Stone return to the lore in a big way. She actually was back in the lore today, teasing the Stormpoint return, which is quite cool. And then a few seasons later, it seems like Forge was actually getting teased again, because for Newcastle's teasers, they teased his silhouette. But hey, this silhouette looks exactly like Forge. He's doing the Forge pose to mess with everyone, apparently. And also, Newcastle had more Forge in his teasers, because in one of the Twitter teasers, Newcastle has a picture of Forge on his dartboard that he throws darts on because he hates Forge. Why does he hate Forge? Well, Forge was actually really weird with Bangalore, Newcastle's sister, and made some weird advances to her, and even said him and Bangalore were together when that wasn't true. So obviously, with Newcastle being Bangalore's big brother, he kind of hated this. this. So if Forge did ever come to the game, imagine the dynamic between Newcastle and Forge. These two guys would rip each other apart. After all that though, it took 4 seasons for Forge to be mentioned in the lore again, in the Season 17 map update and actual Apex merch. First of all, he did get a shirt which was merch that showed how long he'd lived for, but weirdly enough, when this first came out, Respawn messed up the date in some of the promotional art, making some people think Forge was actually a simulacrum, which could still be true, although they fixed that a few hours later. And also, obviously, in the Apex Legends Museum on the World's Edge, he has merch there, and all of the proceeds from the merch go to his family. God, they're really milking this, and if he does come back one day, imagine the drama with his family milking his death. And at the end of Season 17, Revenant started getting teasers for Revenant Reborn, where his user interface would glitch, and on this glitch, guess who was present again? Of course, it was Forge, because it showed Revenant's victims. But he keeps coming back, and it doesn't stop. The next season, he also came back in some ways. Revenant, when he got reworked, his ultimate ability was called Forged Shadows. Now, don't tell me that's a coincidence, that the word Forge manages to sneak its way into Revenant's abilities, the guy who killed him. Come on, bro. But if that's not enough for you, also in this season, Revenant did get an heirloom recolor, and this meant brand new animations for Revenant's heirloom. And I'm sure you can see where this one's going. Yes, he got an animation where he pulls up Forge's amulet and it's got blood all over it, and he basically just reminisces on the fact that he killed Forge. And this season we are still getting teasers, but no sign of Forge just yet, which honestly surprises me because he doesn't ever stop coming to the game. And a bit of silly trivia for you, guess who was Forge's voice actor? Well, it was no other than the same voice actor as Revenant, yes. Okay, do you guys now feel slightly as insane as I do after researching this all day? So what is gonna happen with Forge? Is he gonna come? Is he gonna go? Is he gonna be a meme? Is he gonna be a legend one day? Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that when Forge was originally leaked, a few people did figure out he wasn't gonna be a legend straight away through hints and data mines, but is he gonna become a legend from now on? Well, we know Respawn do like putting down hints for legends years and years before they even arrive, because in the Revenant teasers, there were mentions of Newcastle of all people who came out 10 seasons later. So Respawn setting up legends for the future isn't an insane theory. I think he could possibly come, but I think this could be in years. I think if Respawn wanted to do this, they would have to execute it perfectly and have some really awesome lore in the background. The fact that they do keep mentioning him does kind of give me a little hope, although I can't be 100% certain. And a lot of him potentially being alive does ride on his eyebrows. Yes, if the eyebrow slit was deliberate and Respawn were going with him getting imitated, that could genuinely confirm a plan for Forge, the often imitated man. But to know that, we'll have to get in the heads of Respawn, and honestly, we'll never be able to. So my personal opinion, I think we will see him one day, although I'm sure many will disagree with me. So put your thoughts down in the comments. And also, which Forge ability do you think is the best? I personally think his passive of extra speed after getting kills for 10 seconds is huge, and subscribe.